I won't talk too long in this video, but it was a bit of fun that I was having with a few mates. I was just talking about credible opponents for Anthony Joshua at this stage of his career. I've come up with a dozen, and without being too boring about it, I've rated them 12 to 1 in terms of who I would most like to see. 12 being the least, 1 being the most. Now, towards the top of the list, they're guys who are borderline acceptable. Towards the bottom, they're guys I actively want to see. Having said that, with the state of the current heavyweight division, to find 12 guys full stop was hard enough. But let me talk through. Oquendo, number 12. Yeah, no world beater. Quite a boring fighter. But recently went the distance with Chigayev. Tall, experienced, doesn't tend to get stopped. Could he be the man to give Anthony Joshua rounds? Probably not, but possibly. And probably a step up. Probably in the right direction. Number 11, Manuel Charr. A guy that I really don't rate. Worryingly, Eddie Hearn described him as a brilliant fighter this weekend. That suggests that that fight's possible. I know Charr was in talks to fight Hughie Fury, which means this is possibly a likely fight. If he's considering fights like Hughie Fury, I'm sure he'll consider Anthony Joshua. There's more money in the Joshua fight. Put simply, he's been stopped badly by Povetkin recently. I question his chin at the elite level. Will he be the man to give Anthony Joshua rounds? Again, doubtful. Number 10, Andre Rudenko. Now, this guy is very limited. Funnily enough, I would actually pick both Oquendo and Charr to win fights against Rudenko. However, this guy is as hard as nails. I think he does give Joshua rounds. He's got an iron jaw. Look at the way he fought against Lucas Brown. Look at the way he fought against Hughie Fury. I've heard the stories about him sparring with Tyson Fury. This guy can take a shot. This guy keeps coming. He could be the guy to give Joshua rounds. And whilst I see him as a less refined operator than the first two names I've mentioned, Joshua needs rounds. He could be a good test. Number 9, Chris Arreola. A big name and a big puncher. Possibly the first opponent Joshua would be in with who could have a chance of hurting Joshua. That would be interesting. The worry is he's lost momentum in his career. He looked poor last time out, albeit in an exciting fight, and he got stopped heavily by Stavern. Is it too late for Arreola? Number 8, Ustinov. I like the fact he's tall. I think being tall would pose a different dynamic to Joshua. He's yet to face someone bigger than him with a jab. Ustinov's no world beater, but he brings that to the equation. And I think that will be key for AJ, on his way up. Perhaps Tyson Fury made a mistake in not having experience of fighting other tall men in a pro ring. And I think Joshua is going to need that more than ever with the likes of Fury, Wilder, Klitschko at the top of the division. Number 7, a controversial choice, Shannon Briggs. But love him or hate him, the guy carries power and the guy has a great chin. It's too late for him realistically. He's too old, he's too far on in his career. But it would be an entertaining build-up, and AJ can make yet another statement by stopping the man Vitali couldn't stop, similar to Kevin Johnson. Number 6, and this is a name, from here on in we're getting into the names that I would really like to see. The top 6 I could take or leave. Now we're in the bottom 6. We're getting on to guys that I'm starting to think are really interesting. 6, Mariusz Wach. Again, I think this guy's overrated in terms of his boxing capability. A limited guy, but a big guy, a tall guy, a rangy guy with possibly the best jaw in the business. Look at the beating he took from Vladimir, and he never went down. Now, I know steroids played a part in that possibly, but this would be a huge statement if AJ was to stop Mariusz Wach. I think that's interesting. Number 5, Tony Thompson. Yes, Tony Thompson's not at his peak, but he's tall, he's awkward, he's a southpaw, he's experienced, he can take a punch. Let's not forget, this guy went the distance with Pulev. He beat David Price twice. Went the distance with Takam. I believe I'm right in saying he's only ever been stopped by Vladimir. And, you know, even in that first Vladimir fight, he looked pretty good for large swathes of the fight. Tony Thompson is still a good test. Tony Thompson is still a top 10 heavyweight. And he's the first person in this discussion who I would consider to be a top 10 heavyweight. In fact, he's actually the last person out of this 12. He's the only one out of this list of 12 I would consider to be a top 10 heavyweight. But look at Thompson's form. You know, wins against Solis. 2 wins against Solis. Wins against David Price. He's a proven operator. That would be an entertaining fight. So I think Walk was 6, Thompson was 5. Number 4, Fast Eddie Chambers. Just seen an interview with Eddie Chambers on Bayloric TV. Shout out to Ingram. Good fighter, Eddie. You know, real defensive, technical, moving, sophisticated, smooth operator. Yeah, a really classy guy and a classy fighter. I'd like to see Eddie get a chance to get back in the limelight, and I think this is an interesting fight. You know, let's not forget Eddie Chambers went 12 rounds with what's his name? Vladimir Klitschko. He fought lots of Povetkin, Thomas Adamek. You know, he's been tested at the elite level. I'd like to see Joshua Chambers. I think Chambers is still young, he's still fit, he's still mobile, and he would provide a real step up in opposition for Anthony Joshua. Number 3, Dillian Whyte. I like the story, I like the background, I like the fact that Whyte is young, I like the fact that Whyte's full of desire, carries a bit of power, and is still early on in his career. We're used to seeing Joshua fight dinosaurs. Let's see him fight someone fresh who's got a will to win. Number 2, David Price. David Price brings a lot to the table. He's tall. He's got immense power. And AJ would have to be careful defensively because David Price has game-changing power. Yes, he can be knocked out. Yes, if AJ was to get the victory here, it would probably be in the first 2 or 3 rounds. But that would be an exciting 2 or 3 rounds when it lasted. I hope you can agree with that. Finally, number 1. And the more I think about it, I think this has got the best fight stylistically. And I'm not expecting it to happen because of the promotional politics. But the fight I'd most like to see AJ in is Derek Chisora. You know, I know Derek Chisora's in the autumn of his career. I know he's had some tough losses. I know he's lost every time he stepped up in opposition to top 10 level. But it would be a fascinating test. Chisora is a come-forward fighter. He's not going to run from Joshua. He's very aggressive. He's also got a very interesting style in the sense that he comes forward, bobbing and weaving, you know, Joe Fraser-esque, people always say, throwing looping punches. He's rough as hell. You know, he can take a shot, and he's going to smother Joshua. You know, he's going to try and test AJ's stamina. I think stylistically, that's a very entertaining matchup. And I think Chisora will offer something extremely different to a typical journeyman like Kevin Johnson, who's been circling on his back foot. It's a very interesting test in my eyes. And if AJ beats Chisora, he moves sort of top 15 level. Let me know your thoughts. As always, keen to discuss. Who do you fancy him to fight? Thanks for watching.